All right, everybody, I'm here with Wizzrobe from Cognitive Gaming, and it's the last day of Summit, and I wanted more people to get to know you better because I feel like, that's one of the big things. It's like, oh, like, we love your Falcon, you're very technical, and
Yeah.
like, you're starting to get good results. But I'm actually more curious too. I know that we started talking more at tournaments, and so it's great to like get to talk to you for like the little time I have.
Yeah.
So I guess initially I knew you from PM. I always thought of you as a PM player that slowly moved into melee, and you play
Oh,
64.
yeah.
But obviously, I'm probably very wrong. So how did you start getting into Smash?
Um, yeah, I pretty much started with every game, except for PM. Like, PM started getting bigger back in 2.1, back like 6 months like into my career, pretty much. Like back when I first started in late 2011 or whatever. Um, but I pretty much started with all the Smash games because I always intended to play all the Smash games because I just like Smash in general. I'm not like Melee's probably the best one, but I still like the other ones like a whole lot. So um, I just started off playing like all of them really.
So, I mean, you're talented at all the games. I've watched you for many years. But what got you to jump into competitive Smash? Like, how did you get introduced to it? Especially since you were so young when you started.
Yeah. I I saw videos on YouTube of like like pro smashers back like when I first found it when I was younger. I don't even know what age I was. It's really hard to say, honestly. I'm gonna guess like 10 or 11. But I was always fascinated because I just always played Smash as a kid, and it was like the one game that like even when I did eventually get bored of it, I just like took a break, came back like a week or a couple weeks later just to play casually. It's just like it just becomes fun all over again. Like it never really gets worn out, it feels like. So it's just like overall my favorite game franchise, and I forgot your question now.
Okay, no, it's just like pretty much how did you get into like competitive Smash? Because you
Oh
play it
yeah.
and there's like a jump you have to make to, play at tournaments and whatnot.
Yeah. To be honest, I would have entered tournaments like even earlier than when I started. I started when I was 13. I would have started even earlier if like I knew how to get where the tournaments were, but I didn't learn how to use Google.com till I was like 13 years old. And then I learned how to use Google.com. I just typed in whatever, like a local tournament in my area, and I found something, and then I just went to it.
So, my first tournament experience, I got bopped. Did you have that, or were you just like destroying people left and right, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's a prodigy"? So, like,
Yeah, it was more of that. Like I wasn't like destroying everyone, but I actually won like a couple matches at the local, and I think it was like the biggest like Florida tournament at the time. It was called, um, what's it called? Advent, I think. It was at like this land center, and at my first tournament, I like first guy I fought was actually the TO of the tournament, so he was like really nice and stuff. And I went Falcon first game. I went okay, but he still beat me. And then second game I went Fox. Those were like the two characters I was playing, and I was doing stuff like wave shine like onto the platform and stuff because I practiced the tech skill at home. And he was like, "This is not your first tournament." Like he was impressed. And then I fought this guy named Skedaddle, and I had actually had like a close set with him. I was like wave shining him. I was Fox, and he was Falcon, and like people were gathering around because they were so surprised like this random kid was able to like wave shine stuff. Like Hungry Box remembers too, like he could describe it to you probably if you were able to ask him. And yeah, I beat like a couple people. I beat like this Peach. I almost beat that Falcon Skedaddle. But yeah, people were just mainly impressed by like my tech skill being so good for never having gone to a tournament.
so, for a lot of young kids, from my experiences just interacting with them, they're pretty intimidated. They don't think that they can compete with the big guys. But it seems like you came in with a lot of confidence. And was that kind of the attitude you had? You weren't really concerned with age, but you're just like another player. Like, how'd you, or did it just not bother you at all that you were?
You mean at like my first tournament or in general?
like your first tournament, and also in general.
My first tournament, I that was one of the things. I was like, when I first found out about a tournament, I was like hesitant to go, even though I know I wanted to go, because like, I knew everybody was older than me, so that was kind of intimidating to me. And like when I went to my first tournament, I was like around all these adults, and like some of them were like smoking and stuff, and like that's not really that bad, but it's like I was not exposed to that kind of environment. Like, so I was just like kind of, I was also like kind of shy. So it was like a mix of everything, like them being older and all this stuff that like, I did go to the tournament, but I was like really hesitant to go because I was like, it was just like pretty much like entering a new world. But I knew it's what I wanted to do because it was like competitive Smash. But in terms of my confidence, I would say I didn't think I was gonna win because I understood like they were good, but I was like, I knew I could at least do okay. Like I did not go in with the mindset like I'm just gonna completely lose. Like I thought I would at least beat like some people, and that's what I did.
That's awesome. So, for me, I wasn't able to play until I was like 16 or 17 when I
Yeah.
started driving. My parents generally weren't very supportive of me playing video
Oh
games.
yeah.
How was that for you, growing up since you were, even younger when you
Yeah.
started?
Um, they were kind of hesitant. Basically, the way my parents work is like when it first started, they were kind of hesitant, but they did drive me because they were nice. But the more and more I went to the tournaments, the more used to it they got, and they got associated with some of like the players there, like some of the guys at the tournaments. So they basically just got used to it. Like earlier on, they were less okay with it, and as time went on, they got more and more okay with it. And so, like when I went to my first out-of-state tournament, they were really hesitant, but they had like met the guys I went with, like Gatsu and Hungrybox. So it was just all about getting them like adjusted to it.
Okay, and so now that you're a lot more successful, how are they now about are they very enthusiastic? Do they watch your streams, or are they just kind of like, oh, that's a different world and I don't quite understand it, but I support it?
Um, they've grown more enthusiastic, I think. Like they still understand it much, but like they do watch the streams, so they know like the top players and stuff, a lot of them. I think they are enthusiastic about it, but they just don't understand it too well yet. But it's getting a little bit better. So they are kind of supporting it right now.
Okay, that's awesome because like even to this day, even though like I'm kind of doing a lot of work, my parents don't really they don't understand it, and they also kind of don't support it. They're like, oh, he's just doing his crazy little thing. Um,
Yeah.
so you mentioned right from the get-go that you played Fox and you went a little bit of Falcon. So how did you go about choosing your melee main?
Well, I remember I was thinking like at my first tournament, I just know like Fox and Falcon like my two favorite characters, but I lean more towards Falcon overall. Like I wanted to play Falcon more, but I was just it was my first ever tournament match. I was just so nervous that like I noticed I did better with Fox, so I was just like out of like nervousness, I just went Fox the rest of the tournament because I was just like I just wanted to do okay. Like I felt more confident with Fox because I was doing better with him. So the first tournament I went like all Fox, and then after that, ever since the first tournament, I think after that I went like half Falcon, half Fox. Or it was mostly at the beginning like I went Falcon versus most characters, but I didn't like going Falcon versus Spaceys, and then shortly after that, I just learned it and got okay at it, and then I just went all Falcon from there because that's what I wanted to do.
So, you just said you learned it, and I think a lot of people are really curious on like how you process and how you improve and how you go about it. So, can you give us a little bit more detail of like, let's say for example, like you're having issues with Spaceys, how'd you go about solving that issue?
Well, I guess the method back then, since I was so bad, was not that complex. To be honest, like back then, I would just like practice, get some advice from people. If it was like higher level you got, the more I tried to, structure it better. So, I mean, my practice and trying to improve is like way different now than back when I first started. But in general, I would just tell people like pretty much just anything you can think of, like practice, get advice from people, talk to top players who are good with the character, analyze your matches, like get them recorded and like watch over them, and get other players to watch over them because they have other perspectives and stuff like that. So I mean, that's what I would recommend to people. But I think back then I just like practiced and I just got advice from people, and I just naturally got better.
So, break that down one step further, because a lot of people, I tell them just to analyze matches, and they're like, you got to connect the dots for me. I don't know how to do that. So let's say they're watching a match. Let's say it's a matchup they're not really good at. Let's say they went to a tournament, they got on stream, they got wrecked. Like, what would you be looking for if you were in that person's shoes?
Because if I was like the noob?
Yeah, because there's so many ways that people can analyze. Two people analyze very differently, like you mentioned. So how does Wizzy go about analyzing a match that maybe he lost?
Like right now, or do you mean like you just said like I was like
right now?
Well, right now, I mean, I think the thing is, when you're like a lower level player, it's definitely harder to analyze because you don't understand the game as well. And like as like the skill I'm at right now, like I'm able to really like judge things better because I understand what's going on. And to be honest, like even if you have a hard time analyzing, you could get a friend who is also good to analyze, because like even if they're not great at it, if they're okay at it, then they could still notice things that you might not. And in particular, I talk to like certain people who are particularly good at analyzing, so I kind of just have that covered.
Who are those people for you? Is it like Gravy Gatsu, the 20GX crew, or who do you kind of...
Yeah, I mean, they help with it. I would say Gravy a bit more, but it's probably because I ask Gravy more. There's Gravy, Drugged Fox is really good at it. I've had like a couple other people, like one time like Plup, I think, but it's mostly like Drugged Fox and Gravy, I think.
So it's a pretty interesting topic that I'm pretty sure you've kind of had to deal with, interact a lot. The whole 20GX thing, and you have, SoCal. Mango kind of made fun of you today. What's your take on all that?
On Mango, or
like just a general idea? Like there's like 20GX Falcons, and then there's like quote unquote Falcons like SUJ and none. And like sometimes you get hate just by association that you play Falcon and you live in Florida. Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, I guess it's just.
Or do you just not think about it?
Right now I'm not able to like give like my best answer. I feel like, but I just think it's usually kind of dumb in general. Like even if people don't like the 20GX style or whatever, in a way, it's like not as bad as like certain people make it out to be. And yeah, I also think I heard Mango's way he thinks Falcon should be played is like more with reads, because he thinks Falcon should just be played off of like reads and tech chasing, and we think it's like regrab. So we just have like different opinions. But overall, I think like if anyone hates on 20GX, it's just dumb.
Yeah, and Johnny, regrabs a lot too, and he kind of gets away with not being tagged 20GX, even though he does a lot of quote unquote 20GX things. Well, okay.
Yeah, I think that's just more of. I think the reason for that is just more of the fact that people just associate him with style, even if that like the people who are gonna say he styles are gonna be like a bunch of like random like noobs or random people in chat who are like, they're just gonna say it because they heard like Mango, or everyone says he styles, so they're just like, okay, everyone's saying he styles, he must style, but they don't actually like look at what he's doing and judge for themselves,
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, and it seems like you and Johnny are on pretty good terms. It's kind of funny that there's this like online rivalry, but like in person, you guys like are pretty neutral, or like
yeah.
So like, it's like pretty interesting. It's been a pretty good year, and I've asked a lot of other players because you've gone more esports in a sense that a lot of people can take Smash seriously. I've always been curious, like, what are your goals in Smash? Like, what do you want to achieve?
Um, I mean, I just want to see, as a Falcon player, I'd like to see how far I can take Falcon. In general, I'd like to be like the best player, obviously. Like I think everybody at this level wants to become the very best, to be honest. And yeah, I just want to become the best and see how far I can take Falcon. If I can become the best with Falcon, that would be amazing.
Well, I see you on stream with Muta King and sometimes Plep. You play other characters, so
Hmm.
you're mentioning solo Falcon, but is there ever a point where you're just like, because I know that Pleb Sheik is a really tough matchup for you,
Uh,
that you just were like, you know what, I don't think Falcon can do this. I might need to go Fox, or has that never crossed your mind?
um, I always kind of try and judge that in my head. Like, if it's doable, I'd like to stick with Falcon. Like, for a long time, I thought Falcon Jigglypuff was like either potentially winnable or like just totally unwinnable. And it was hard to tell for a long time. And I eventually beat Hungrybox, but then after that, he just kept countering me. Like, he just got better at the matchup to the point where I was like, okay, maybe this is impossible after all. But I was able to overcome it. Obviously, saw it with the Fox. So with that matchup, I guess Falcon is able to overcome it. But I would say when it comes to like Sheik, the other hard matchup for Falcon, is like I think it's like kind of doable, but the main issue I see with that matchup in particular is they both have the right tools, I feel like, to beat each other well. Like Sheik has a slight advantage, but for everything Falcon has to do, Sheik just has it like 3 times easier. Like the tech chase is easier. Um, like I just think getting in is easier. Just like the execution's a lot harder for Falcon. So it's like that matchup's harder, more of the fact that more of the execution than the tools themselves.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And versus Spaceys, I don't get that impression as much. Like obviously if I didn't miss up a tech chase ever, I could like win more. But like I feel like for Spaceys there's more of like a just like a straight up disadvantage in certain situations. So I think for Spaceys is like the real definitely the biggest challenge for Falcon, where I feel like another character like Marth or Fox could be really necessary. But right now I'm just playing Falcon versus Spaceys because that's my best character versus them.
Yeah, it's so painful when I watch a Falcon, and I've seen this with you a lot, especially where you're just like a tad late on like a
Yeah,
tag
yeah.
chase, and then all of a sudden you get grabbed, and then you're dead. It's just like,
Yeah,
man, that's
I
so. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I feel that all the time versus Sheik. Like it's really hard to deal with Sheik, but it with Spaceys too. But I just feel like that's one of the things. Like I feel like Falcon, he has good tools. It's just like he gets punished really hard. And it's like unlike the other characters that get punished really hard, like Fox and Falco, he doesn't have like anything broken to make up for it. You just gotta always play solid.
Yeah, nothing's really free for Falcon
Yeah.
because like. If I miss a tech chase as Sheik, I don't feel like I get penalized that hard, and I definitely know how you. Like if you miss one on Falco, you get shined, and you're just like, damn, like that's
Yeah.
either 50% or an edge guard.
Yeah.
So we can bring on the topic of Smash Summit, and I think this the real reason we want you here. So I mean, what are your thoughts on Summit? Why do you want to go? This is kind of like.
Just say anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I can confidently say like I deserve to go the most. Like that's not something I can easily say. Like I'm saying that like very honestly. Like I'm considering your ranking, whatever, like where you put me 13th is like the most recent. And I mean, people have seen how well I've been doing like this summer in general, aside from like Evo. Like I've been doing really well. I've been beating more players, or at least been more consistent. And I'm pretty much like the highest ranked player who hasn't gone. Like I think the other players, they also deserve to go. But the reason I deserve to go more is just for the fact that I haven't gone already, and I'm like at least as good as them, if not
Yeah.
better. Like Ice is very good; he deserves to go, but he's already been while I haven't been. Pew Pew, S2J, Duck, all those guys are doing well, and they've all at least gone like once. So I mean, I just like for how good I am, it just sucks that I haven't made it in yet. And
Right.
um, I also have like a very fast improvement rate. Like I don't remember what year it was, like back in 2013 or something. I wasn't made on me top 100, even though I should have been, to be honest. But the very next year, I went from not being on to like number 28. So like if I mean that's pretty big.
Yeah. So, like, you're really good, and I, respect you. I put you at 13th. Maybe you'll argue yourself that you deserve higher, but,
Yeah.
I think people recognize your skill. But, I guess, you have to bring the value and translation to the viewers watching this in the YouTube video
hmm
and tomorrow. So what would they miss out on if, you're not there?
I mean, like I said, the other people have been there before, so it's like you kind of have an idea of what to expect. Like so I haven't been there, so like S2J's been there and he's really good too. Like he's around my level with Falcon, but like it feels like for the most part he does kind of similar at most of Smash Summits, while me like I think I have the potential to do like super good. Like I take games off of literally like every player, and like I just think I have like a better chance of doing well. And like I think the people's mindset should just be like, if if we invite like another Falcon or just another player in general, but like another Falcon, then maybe he could do even better. Because I definitely have like some good results to prove that I can do very well. Um,
Well,
what else?
I mean, how about this? I mean, there's other stuff where you have the top 16 there, right? And there's the singles bracket. That's the serious stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like a big selling point of Smash Summit is that we get to know more about the players. And this interview has been great. I've learned a lot about you. But what can they get from Justin Hallett, the person, and not just Wizzrobe the player? I think is what a lot of people are wondering. Are you going to be in Mafia? Do you want to go on the commentary couch? Would you do those things?
I mean, I'll do whatever people want basically at this point. Like I mean, if there's something people want and they're willing to vote for it, I'll pretty much just do it. I mean, it didn't seem like everyone at the summit is like as it doesn't seem like the summit is as personality based as people say it is. Like there's still like a lot of players who never really went on the couch much, or if they did, they didn't say much. Um like I still think the skill is shown more than like the personality
Right.
for most of the players. Like I think people are making the personality thing bigger than it is, but I'll definitely like do whatever people want. Like I'll talk on the couch or whatever, and do Mafia if that's what people want.
I see. So let's see. I'm just trying to think of ideas like that could also sell you. I mean, Duck did the proposal that he would do match analysis. I think it's a pretty good idea because a lot of people already voted, but like I think what Duck did was like after a certain timestamp, like if they could show that they spent $25 on the votes, like they got a match analysis, and that was a big thing for him. Would you consider doing stuff like that for your viewers? Or?
Yeah, definitely. The one thing I had about that is just like if I were to do it like on my stream or something, it's like I feel like it might be hard to get to all the people who voted. So I can only get like so many people, but I'd definitely be down to like make rewards. I just don't really know how to like go about that.
Maybe
Like,
you could say like, hey, like you can support me, and you're already campaigning. Maybe like the first like 10 people, maybe the first 5 to 10 people.
oh, okay, sure. I mean, I'd like to do people with like a high vote count too, as well.
I mean, like the minimum if you spend like $25 is like 100 something, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's a lot of votes at this point because not too many people have votes. I used up all my votes already, so
Yeah.
unless I cheat the system and make another secret account, I don't have any votes left, and a lot of people don't actually have votes left at this point.
Yeah.
So those are just some ideas there. What was it? And so is there and so there's 14 people there, the last two are decided. Are there any people that you absolutely want to play again? Like maybe you lost a tournament set to them and you want to prove yourself? Like, is there anyone that you're like actively like gunning for, like I want to play this guy again?
I think if I play very well, which I'm getting better at doing, I have a shot at beating literally anyone. So I would say someone I like to play a lot is Armada and Mafia. More of Armada, but the reason is because we don't have many peaches in Florida, or we don't really have any except for like maybe one or two who I'd never see. Or I never get to play. So I would really like to play Armada, so I can get like peach practice, and like it's just a more fun matchup to play because I never get to play it.
Mm. So that brings another interesting question. I think that's a selling point. There's been players like Alex19, ESAM, Swedish Delight that improved so much after their experiences at the summit. What would you, if you had the perfect scenario and you knew, like, you already know the 14 players that are already there, how would you want to go about spending your time when you're not doing the activities, to practice? Like, you've mentioned Armada. Is there any other people that you really want to just practice and get a few hours in?
Yeah. I don't know exactly like the schedule or anything, but I just know in my head, like before going or knowing anything, that if I were to go, I want to play pretty much everyone as much as possible, obviously. The only people that I don't really want to play much is like Plup or Muchi King. That's only because they both live very close to me now, so I play with them all the time. So, it doesn't really make sense to play two people who you play a lot as it is. I'm going to spend all that time playing like people I never play, like SFAT, Mango, Armada, everyone else, literally. So main time I think I would play like somebody I already play a lot like them would be to get ready for a Sheik or something. But I just want to like gain as much information as possible, like really absorb as much as possible and take full advantage of my time.
Would you also consider going to the Summit 2.5?
Yeah, I would like to go to that as long as I'm able to go.
Nice.
Like, I think I would go for sure. Like, the only thing stopping me would be like not going to the summit.
Fair enough. Let's see. So, I'm going to put this up on YouTube, ASAP, so that, you get the publicity. And, people watching this video, how can they, go about, organizing with you to your campaign tomorrow?
Oh, you want me to, like, lead them to it, or?
I don't know if you have anything organized, or maybe you don't want your enemies at the time to know about it. Actually, technically, everybody knows the page, right? Do you want them to?
I would like to link anybody who wants to support me to a particular page, if that's good.
Okay, that's fine. You can. Do you want everybody? Is it a private page that you want people to know about, or is it just your fans?
It's more of a private page, so I'd only want, like, I guess certain people. But
okay. Do you have a campaign manager that they can talk to?
Me.
I mean, it seems like. Is there anyone helping organizing that page?
Yeah, but I don't know if he's like available right now. But I mean, I could.
Is it ChocolateJuicer?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Because he's like just spamming the chat with your information.
Okay, I guess it's him.
Okay, so how do they contact ChocolateJuicer?
You or anybody?
Anybody, because that's more important, right? I'm only one person.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more people out there that could, get that information.
Let me ask him, I guess.
Maybe he could post in the Twitch chat to say like how he can contact.
Is he in there right now, or?
Yeah, that's the only reason why I know about ChocolateJuicer is because he's literally writing in the chat.
Is he saying anything?
He's just like saying, "Everybody talk to me." I'm like.
Okay.
All right, maybe I'll just say ChocolateJuicer. Okay, he put Sam Obenchan on. Okay. Oh, he's Nice Climbers. I've met him before. Okay. So I'll put his contact information in the YouTube video.
Yeah.
I want you to go back to streaming, but is there any other kind of last words that you want to say before we end this?
If I make it into Smash Summit, I'll give away an Xbox One and a 3DS on my stream.
Ooh, that's actually pretty enticing. So, Xbox One, 3DS, on top of getting a Falcon player, probably the highest ranked player that has yet to go to a summit. Rapid improvement. Very more talkative than you guys realize, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of people are surprised. Wizzy talks. I thought you were actually one of the most quiet people, but you actually are very expressive. So awesome. Thanks for coming on, and also, let's see. And then you're gonna be streaming probably tonight and tomorrow, right?
Yeah. I might go to Mewtwo Kings tomorrow, but I'll probably just stream. I'll definitely be streaming tonight though, soon. So watch out for that.
So twitch.tv/ I believe Wizzrobe.
Yeah, with 3 Z's.
And with 3 Z's and not 2.
Yeah.
And if not that, then MVG_Lee.
I would just say Mewtwo King.
Or twitch.tv/Mewtwo King. So
yeah,
he's on there a lot. Pretty funny. Maybe, and one last thing, maybe there's a milk and cookies skit that we do with Last Dog Legends. I think that'd be pretty hilarious and another cool point. So, if you like milk and cookies as much as Mewtwo King does and you want to support Wizzrobe, we'll put it in the YouTube description below. Alrighty. Have a great night, Wizzy.
Alright, thanks. See ya.